Mark Rubin said Ubisoft did not cancel Splinter Cell to make XDefiant. So I wanted to go ahead and go over this information just because I'm a big fan of the Splinter Cell franchise. I love those games. I had a lot of the original ones from the GameCube, and I was able to kind of get the I think it was like the original trilogy for the PS3. So that is one of those games that I've really much enjoyed and I've had a lot of fun playing. So seeing that there was, the whole talks and everything like that recently that's been going out in regards to them remaking the first game has had me a little bit excited just to kind of see what's going to come of it. Now, it's Ubisoft, so I haven't really gotten my hopes too much up because of the fact that they're just a weird company. They're people that I feel like at this point you can't really trust as gamers and everything like that. So the fact that they're in the works of doing that, if they can do it well, I feel like it has potential to be something really great and amazing. But again, it's Ubisoft that's behind it, so who knows as far as how well that would go. But this information that we had gotten here, I thought was very telling and kind of interesting because of the fact that we haven't had a Splinter Cell game in I think it's been over 10 years. So seeing this news right here, I thought was pretty interesting and worth kind of discussing a little bit, just because of the fact that, like I stated, I'm a big Splinter Cell fan. So seeing this information right here was kind of interesting. So go ahead and go over this article right here. I'll read some of the information and then we'll go from there. So in a recent interview, it was suggested that Ubisoft was working on a new Splinter Cell game that was canceled before it saw the light of day. This tidbit came from Nick Herman, the co-founder of Ad Hoc Studios, the creator of the recent title Dispatch starring Aaron Paul. Herman stressed that he left Ubisoft after the project was canceled and opened a new studio, Ad Hoc, in 2018. However, Mark Rubin, who is best known as the executive producer on the failed arena shooter XDefiant, took to social media to refute claims that his team was making Splinter Cell and was ordered to pivot and focus instead on XDefiant. And that's one of the things I don't really have too much information on XDefiant, but I just heard that was one of those games that just did not do well. It was one of the many games under Ubisoft's belt that just kind of made them look bad, which is horrible, you know what I mean? But at the same time, it's Ubisoft, so you can't really be too surprised. So, Splinter Cell did not become XDefiant. In a post on social media, Mark Rubin stressed that the recent rumor published first by Bloomberg is not true. This rumor suggests that Ubisoft was working on Splinter Cell but switched to XDefiant. Rubin categorically denies that it was the case, stating that they were working on a game for a year, but the team was struggling to find the fun. And that's pretty interesting, choice of words because of the fact that from what it sounded like, the gamers were struggling to find the fun with that game as well. So seeing that they fucked up that bad, it's unfortunate, especially if they were working on a Splinter Cell game, because of the fact that I feel like Splinter Cell would definitely do way better than X Defiant was able to do. But at the end of the day, that really just depends on how they would have went about making the new game, Splinter Cell game, and then obviously the story behind it and how true it would have been able to go to the franchise itself. So he then pushed the point again that it was not a Splinter Cell game. Here's the full quote from Rubin. Saw the rumor from Bloomberg that we were working on Splinter Cell game before switching to XDefiant. I can say that is not true. When I got to Ubisoft, they had been working on a game for a year that was very ambitious but was struggling to find the fun, and it was not a Splinter Cell game. I then canceled that one and let the team pitch any game ideas they wanted. There were some cool ones, but I felt the scope/difficulty was too hard on some ideas, so we stuck with an arena shooter and we found the fun quickly. So no, we didn't pivot off Splinter Cell to make XDefiant. Now maybe they were thinking about working on Splinter Cell before I got there, but it was never a thing while I was there. My experience with Ubisoft was they were very open to whatever the studio wanted to do, which is great, but I do wish we could have used external engines. And that's an interesting one, just because of the fact that he's stating, when he was there, that wasn't the case. But who knows? I mean, before he got there, that could have been the situation where they were actually working on a Splinter Cell game. And it's really sad to hear that, because if they were deciding to work on a new Splinter Cell game, but then decided to pivot on X Defiant, then yeah, that's I gotta say that's a pretty big fuck up on their end. You know what I mean? So who knows at that point, because of the fact that he could just be making these statements to kind of not make the company look bad, but at the same time it could just be from his perspective and what he was able to see. So I don't know, man. If Ubisoft decided to go that route, and I wouldn't be too surprised, to be honest, because of the fact that Ubisoft has been making a lot of questionable, choices and everything like that. It's like you guys, it seems like they're not really in the market to try to go towards what gamers want, and more so to kind of fill their own pockets with more money in the sense of like not being able to do it in the smartest way possible. So I don't know, man. It's a little bit weird to kind of hear this information, but yeah, we'll just have to take it with a grain of salt, I guess. So the recent claim from Nick Herman, co-founder of Ad Hoc Studios, was that Ubisoft stopped caring about the game the team was working on. Herman would leave around a year before Mark Rubin arrived in 2019. Yeah, so there you go. So it was one of those things. This was something that was going on a year before Mark even was able to arrive. So I don't know, man. If they decided to just stop caring about Splinter Cell, again, that's very ignorant on their end. You know what I mean? They got to be fucking retarded to kind of go that route. But at the same time, it is Ubisoft, so it's not too surprising that they would kind of stop caring about one of their major IPs that still has a fan base. Granted, it's not a huge fan base as it used to be in its heyday because of the fact that, it's been so long since they've come out with something, but if they're able to kind of put their heads down and just kind of focus on doing a good Splinter Cell game, I bet you anything that game that would do really well. And obviously, with the original voice actor not being able to come back around, he's kind of he's retired at this point. You're gonna need a new voice actor and everything. So that would be something that would be a little bit weird hearing Sam Fisher if they decided to go that route, have a different voice. But still, if the gameplay is there, the story is really done well, then I feel like they could do something really good. But yeah, at this point, it's like who knows. And then Ubisoft is still working on a remake of the original Splinter Cell title, which is working with a reported release window of 2026. And I'm skeptical to hear that because Ubisoft has had a lot of issues that they've been going through in the past year. So when I first started this channel, I didn't think I was going to be talking about Ubisoft as much as I have. I've done a few videos on them and kind of just shitting on them, if I'm being honest. And it's not like I've wanted to do that purposely. It's just that's a lot of the stuff that they've been doing, the choices that they've been making. It kind of calls to get called out on a lot of the stuff that they've been doing, as far as what I mean, coming out with like the Star Wars Outlaws, which didn't do well. The fact that they have Prince of Persia, which was supposed to get remade back in I think like 2001, 2002. I don't think I pre-ordered it, but I was, patiently waiting to kind of see what was going to be happening with that game. And the fact that there still hasn't been any news on it is just it's very telling as to what's going on with this company. So again, Ubisoft being Ubisoft and just screwing up left and right. So yeah, it's not too surprising at the end of the day, but when it comes down to it, it's like, man, this is Splinter Cell, guys. Like, you guys could do something really good, especially like a stealth kind of game the way Splinter Cell is. I feel like there is potential, especially in modern gaming, to be able to have something that's truly amazing and is really badass for gamers to enjoy. But alas, it is again Ubisoft, so you can't really give them too high standards when it comes down to it. So those are my thoughts on that. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section. If Ubisoft decided to go against making a Splinter Cell game, do you think that's very stupid on their part, like I do? Because I feel like that's a game that could do really well in modern gaming today. So if you guys can let me know your guys' thoughts in the comments. If you guys could like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. If you guys have been watching this long, I really appreciate it. It means a lot. And yeah, until next time, Harmonic out. Peace.